You're watching Agenda, and if you're a woman living in India, one of the difficulties that you may have faced while in a public place may have been the hunt for a clean toilet. Yes, that's a hunt which the government and the new government that came in 2014 also realized, which is why one of their major campaigns has been to build new toilets. In fact, I can tell you, since 2014, the government says that they've built 33.5 million toilets, and their aim by 2019 is to build 110 million toilets. But this week, the civic corporation in the capital has brought in a novel idea. They have said while they're building toilets, what they are going to do is that they've passed an order saying restaurants can no longer say no to women. If you're a woman in any part of South Delhi, you can walk into any restaurant, any five-star hotel and demand to use their facilities. Here's what the women responded to that order. Of course, remember, restaurants are not happy.
I feel that toilets should be made free for women and children, otherwise the situation becomes really difficult for any women.
I feel very good about it because you keep roaming in the market and you don't know where to go for the loo. Okay, and one has a feeling that the restaurant loos are hygienic and clean. So if you can use it, it's very good for women and children.
South Delhi has started this thing, and I think the whole India should accept this concept and they should start it as soon as possible.
हाँ, अच्छा है ये लेडीज और चिल्ड्रंस के लिए, उनको कंफर्टेबल फील नहीं होता बाहर मार्केट में, तो हम लोग ये हमें कोई एतराज़ नहीं है ये अगर यूज़ करें.
So all the women there giving a thumbs up to that idea that they can now walk into any restaurant in any area in the capital. But remember, this is not a Delhi thing. If you think about it, just a couple of years ago in Mumbai, the women got together and ran a Right to Pee campaign. It's an issue which binds women in urban and rural areas. So we have with us our guest today, we have Prakul Kumar, who represents the National Restaurant Association of India. They have some apprehensions about it. Many of them are citing privacy issues. And we have from the South Delhi Municipal Corporation, Shailinder Singh. He was part of the decision-making process where they got all the parties together, the restaurants and the other stakeholders, to figure out this novel method. But before that, it's really about the women. And it's about women in South Delhi as well, what they think. What did you want to say? Have you ever been turned down by a restaurant from using their loo?
Well, a couple of times. Satyaniketan is a spot where, almost all the crowds, student crowds, they gather there from, Venki or JMC or any other place. And it's really disheartening when you feel, okay, I need to use the washroom, and they just say no. It feels really bad. Means, if not them, then who would understand at the end of the day?
And what do they say when you ask to use it?
Well, they say you should be a customer here first, you should dine in here, and then we'll let you use the washroom.
Okay, and one of the things that the government has said is that they can charge, if they want, a normal fee of 5 rupees, but that has upset the restaurants even more. Anybody who thinks it's not such a good idea, before I go over to our experts, yeah, why do you think it's not such a good idea?
I'm not saying it's not a good idea, it's actually a good step by the government, but I feel that shouldn't males be also given the same right? Why do we always consider in each and every field that only females and children? What about males? Where do the males go? Very interesting idea. Well, some would actually point out, before I ask Mr. Shailinder Singh to respond, some would actually point out it hasn't looked like it's a problem because you're a rarity. We see men going publicly all the time. But I want to, before I go across to the officials, I want to, all of you are giggling now, but you know it's true, right? Paramita Vora is a filmmaker who's made a documentary especially on this issue. So Paramita Vora, I know that Mumbai women and activists have been campaigning. Here the MCD has come up with this novel idea. What do you think of it? Is it something that Brihan Mumbai should also emulate?
For many years, for example, we used to always joke that the Taj Mahal Hotel was our favorite public loo, and we would often use it. But I don't know if this is really a sustainable idea, because one thing is that, yeah, men will be peeing on the road all the time, as they do. And also, I think it really will divide women of different classes very strongly, So because restaurants will allow maybe middle class women to go in, but they're not going to allow poor women to go in. So how does that really help all kinds of women?
That's a very interesting idea, and I want to take that to Shailinder Singh ji. Shailinder Singh ji, this is a good idea because for us, practically, it solves a lot of problems because we never find toilets. And just to tell our viewers, before he responds, this is an issue which is so political that the Aam Aadmi Party made ads about it, that they've now cleaned up our toilets. And of course, BJP has made toilets a huge issue as well. So it's a political hot potato. But who is delivering on it? That's something we have to ask the students. So, sir, how would you respond to Paramita Vohra's point that women who are not middle class, they will feel intimidated. वो पूछेंगे ही नहीं कि हम जा सकते हैं कि नहीं, 5-star होटल में जाएंगे नहीं, या फिर उनको वहां से लोग कह देंगे कि आप नहीं जा सकते.
देखिए, हमने इसीलिए ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में डाला. इट इज अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बिटवीन द गवर्नमेंट एंड द रेस्टोरेंट ओनर. नॉट ओनली मिडिल क्लास, इवन पीपल लाइक अस, दे यूज टू हैव अ हिच, यार अंदर जाएंगे कोई टोक ना दे हमें. तो इकट्ठे एक शॉट से हमने दिल्ली में वेल मेंटेन्ड 4000 के आसपास टॉयलेट्स पब्लिक के लिए अवेलेबल करा दिए.
First priority, there are 4000 restaurants, okay, and so new 4000 toilets,
yes.
okay.
Plus they are well maintained. Second is issue of safety. आप 10-10:30 पब्लिक टॉयलेट यूज करते हुए थोड़ा सा घबराते हैं, एक थोड़ा हिच है, दिल्ली में सेफ्टी का इशू है, इसमें आपका कोई सेफ्टी का इशू नहीं है.
That's a good point, yeah.
तीसरा, रेस्टोरेंट पे कोई हम एक्स्ट्रा बर्डन नहीं डाल रहे. उनका जो स्टाफ सुबह से शाम तक उस टॉयलेट को मेंटेन कर रहा है, साफ कर रहा है, उसको उन्होंने उतनी ही तनख्वाह देनी है. उसमें 20 लोग जाएं या 20 एक्स्ट्रा आ जाएं तो भी वो वैसे ही वेल मेंटेन्ड, उनका इक्विपमेंट है, स्टाफ है, सारी चीजें हैं. बहुत नॉमिनल, बहुत इतना बड़ा उनका इशू नहीं है.
okay.
अगर हम उनके 10 इश्यूज सॉल्व करते हैं नेशनल रेस्टोरेंट एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया के साथ बैठकर, उनका सबसे बड़ा इशू था कि हमें 60 दिन में लाइसेंस मिलता है, हमने वो 12 घंटे में करके उनका एक मेजर इशू सॉल्व कर दिया. उधर पब्लिक कॉज के लिए अगर हम कुछ उनसे भी डिमांड करते हैं, बिकॉज दे आर ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ आवर सोसाइटी, उनकी भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. अगर आज एक
No, it's right. You've given us very good points. However, you haven't answered what Paramita Vohra brought up. She's saying that what about people who are, you know, poor women? What about their access to toilet? They need the government to build it. They will not go to a fancy restaurant and ask to use. What about them?
You're talking about Jhuggi cluster.
Yeah, or any.
Madam, I'll tell you. Generally, that kind of area, they have got big toilets. And this issue is concerned moreover when ladies go for shopping, say in GK, in Green Park or South Delhi Enclave Market. पूरा दिन वो घूमती हैं, टॉयलेट या तो बंद पड़ा है, मेंटेन नहीं है मार्केट के बिल्कुल कॉर्नर पे, क्योंकि एमसीडी को जो टॉयलेट बनाने में सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत आती है, दैट इज लोकेशन. आज आपके घर के सामने बनाता हूँ, लोग इकट्ठे होकर आ जाते हैं, हम यहाँ पर नहीं बनने देंगे. अभी जैसे मैं आपको एक एग्जाम्पल, बिल्कुल रिसेंट एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ, ट्रॉमा सेंटर ऑफ सफदरजंग हॉस्पिटल, उसके मेन रोड पे पूरी लोकेलिटी A1 ब्लॉक हमारे पास आया कि यहाँ टॉयलेट बनाइए. लोग पूरा ऑटोज वगैरह रुक के यहाँ पे रोड पे वो करते हैं. हमें वहां 3 महीने लग गए उस लोकेशन को फाइनलाइज करने में. आखिर हमने डिसाइड करा कि 2% लोग कहीं भी बनाएंगे नाराज होंगे, हमें बनाना पड़ेगा.
So people don't want toilets in their area. Well, this is just shocking. Actually, that's revelatory what you're saying.
मार्केट में आप बनाएंगे तो मार्केट में जिसकी दुकान के नियरेस्ट पॉइंट पे होगा वो उसको मना करेगा, बनने नहीं देगा.
Because what? They think it will be ill maintained and it's dirty.
कल को मेंटेन नहीं हो, मेरी दुकान के आगे टॉयलेट होने से.
But sir, then the civic corporation also is responsible, क्योंकि आप लोगों को भी you have to make people trust you कि आप साफ रखेंगे.
अब आप देखिए कि अभी पिछले, आपने भी इस बात को मानना पड़ेगा कि जब से हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी आए हैं, इस इशू को, जो वैसे बहुत एक छोटा इशू है लेकिन इम्पैक्ट बहुत बड़ा है इसका, कॉर्पोरेशंस ने पहली बार किसी भी टॉयलेट को बनाने से पहले 2 कंडीशंस उसकी रखी हैं कि उसमें सीवरेज और वाटर कनेक्शन कंपलसरी होगा और 2 आदमी उसको मेंटेन करने के लिए जरूर दिए.
Okay, because you know one of the biggest problems we find is that even if they build it, and this is by the way in villages as well, when I'll let you speak. When we go and when the whole toilet campaign was happening, we saw toilets were built, but there was no water. Paramita Vohra, do you accept what the South Delhi Municipal Corporation is saying now as their explanation that we're doing this a simultaneous thing, but at least you have 4,000 new loos?
But the thing, I mean, I do think it's good to have some access to bathrooms as opposed to no access. But I still wonder about the fact that if people are not going to allow a toilet to be built near their shop, are they really going to allow lots of people to come in and out using the toilet, right? And I think that something people are not taking into account is that most women of all class backgrounds feel very inhibited to say they want to use the bathroom, right? Like even if they come to your house, they are hesitant to ask you that they want to use the bathroom. So I don't know it's taking into account the on the ground issues. But most importantly, it's important that there be public toilets which anybody can use, you know, not private property which the public is using, but a public toilet that the system provides us where any kind of woman can go in and use the toilet when she needs to.
Well, that's an important perspective on the mindset, which is a problem which this issue of making restaurant toilets accessible doesn't really solve. But let's get a restaurant perspective. What are the apprehensions that all of you have? First of all, you are all implementing it, all the restaurants.
So I would like to clarify a couple of points here. The first is that this is a participative program.
It's not mandatory.
It is at the moment a participatory program, which has been launched as a pilot project, wherein the conditions, as have already been mentioned, are existing for the use of toilets in restaurants for ladies and for children. At the outset, I would also like to reiterate the fact that we do respect the dignity for women, and therefore this move along with the SDMC. While we expand the availability of toilets, it is also essential, as one of the gentlemen had mentioned, that we need to have public toilets which should not be objected to by somebody to say that, hey, look, this is close to my property. It should be as clean as...
So you're worried that the government will just leave it on all of you. They should build their own.
So I would just let me finish. Please.
Yeah.
So the issue here is that firstly, the so-called definition or the responsibility should be very clear. Number one, who's to provide it? Number two is the fact that here are private properties. In a sense, such a thing, I guess, was happening in the marketplaces where people who have come out to shop, etc., would walk into some store or a restaurant and use the facilities. See, when you make, unfortunately in the country, when you make something, I mean, as a right or as a for use, should not lead to a misuse.
So I think it becomes a major issue for women, because even if you go to metro stations, women are very reluctant to use them, because even though they pay money, which I know it's minimal, it's not clean enough. So it's so then they think to hold it, and for then if restaurants are not open, it becomes a major issue for us, like where should we go?
And so the big advantage you're saying is that the restaurant one has to be clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so which is why you prefer that. Yeah,
yes.
What did you want to say?
जैसा कि जब अभी सर ने बताया कि जब हम लोग जाते हैं तो वहाँ पे कुछ लोग होते हैं जो बनाने नहीं देते हैं. सर आप वहाँ पे क्यों जाते हैं? जो म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के अंदर में आता है सर, वहाँ पे जाइए, वहाँ पे बनाइए. और दूसरी चीज़ ये सर, जो स्लम एरिया है जहाँ पे लोग खाने के लिए जो जाते हैं बाथरूम के लिए, तो उनको टॉयलेट नहीं है, वहाँ की लेडीज को सबसे ज्यादा फेस करना पड़ता है. वो केवल सुबह और शाम में ही निकल पाती हैं और दोपहर में नहीं जा पाती हैं. ये सबसे बिग इश्यू है और आप उनके लिए कोई काम नहीं करते हैं.
देखिए, कॉर्पोरेशन के अंडर क्या आता है? स्लम्स कम्स अंडर दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट. लेट अस बी क्लियर. नहीं, एक सेकंड प्लीज. नहीं, अरे भाई एक सेकंड सुनिए ना, पूरी बात सुनिए. हमने अभी दो इश्यूज हमारे पास आए थे. फर्स्ट वाज मार्केट एसोसिएशंस, कि भाई हमारे मार्केट में हम टॉयलेट भी बनाते हैं, वो मेंस वाला यूज होता है, लेडीज वाला उतना अच्छा हाइजीनिक और वो मेंटेन आरडब्ल्यूएस करती है, मार्केट एसोसिएशन करती है. फर्स्ट इश्यू वाज जो मार्केट में आता है, कोई भी लेडी घर से उठ के सिर्फ टॉयलेट यूज करने नहीं आएगी. फर्स्ट थिंग, वो मार्केट में आएगी और 10 काम से, तो उसके लिए वो नेक्स्ट सुनिए ना. नेक्स्ट इश्यू आया था कॉलोनीज का, आरडब्ल्यूएस का, कि भाई हमारे यहाँ पर अगर कोई वर्कर्स हैं, कोई काम करने वाले हैं, कोई और लोग हैं जिनको लोग अपने घर का टॉयलेट या कोई शॉपकीपर अपना टॉयलेट नहीं यूज करने दे रहा, उसके लिए हमने ये 150 टॉयलेट्स बनाने शुरू करे हैं. मैंने 150 विद, एक मिनट पूरी बात. उसमें 150 में फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी आई टोल्ड यू सीवर वाटर, सेकंड इज मेंटेनेंस. पूरा मेंटेनेंस का हमने बजट
150 isn't it a very small number
एक सेकंड
for a city of.
देखिए, हम एक उसको फेज वाइज कर रहे हैं बजट को देखते हुए.
पहले
साल 150, 150 फर्स्ट, सेकेंड फेज में 450, और 150 के साथ साथ हमने एक नया जो पायलट प्रोजेक्ट शुरू किया है लास्ट ईयर, उसमें जहाँ पे हमारा सफाई कर्मचारी जो उसकी हाजिरी लगती है जिसको हम बोलते हैं.
I appreciate that you are making efforts, but I don't know if it's keeping up with the demand.
4,000 even government cannot build in one day.
Okay, I understand, but I'm just saying that is it keeping up with the demand that there is, and many men pointing out very rightly that I'll just come to you. First of all, I just want to go across to Dr. Kar, who is the founder chairman of, they work in sanitation, his group works in sanitation. Dr. Kar, do you welcome this? You've heard the restaurant, which has very genuine concerns. You've heard the civic authorities. Do you think this is a good idea?
Well, I think this is indeed a good idea, because the idea in the sense that I would look at it, the access to the toilet and sanitation, access to sanitation, and the difficulty of the access to toilets by the women had been a serious problem all over the world, and in India it's even more serious. So what should be done? Let's do this, let's do that, that's going on. But the problem remains, So I look at it from that point of, from that side, that at least the problem has brought to the priority, and what solutions we have, let's try and, try to enhance the access to toilets for the women. Okay, the questions, I couldn't hear all the discussions, but certain things I could hear, that the class of women.
So something is better than nothing, and there is at least some thinking going on the part of the civic corporation. But should this be then implemented? Should other civic bodies across the country also implement it? And what happens to the rural areas? And of course, we'll have so many other experiences. Toilets is an issue which is close to everybody's heart. So stay tuned. We'll be back, right back with lots more reaction. On agenda, we are talking about toilets and how this week the South Delhi Municipal Corporation has come out with a radical new idea which says that restaurants can't say no to anybody. Anybody off the street can come in and use them, because this provides 4,000 more toilets for women. But as a lot of the men in my audience, young audience, were saying, why have the civic authorities not thought about them? Why aren't they building toilets for everybody? Okay, what did you want to say?
Okay, so my main concern is that I do not go just outside and just pee. Okay, so even I
like the majority of men.
Yeah,
okay.
So I prefer to use a washroom or a restroom, and it's really unfortunate that majority of the public toilets are just not usable at all.
So
I'm sorry.
Okay, so Shailendra ji, I wanted to ask you, whose responsibility? Obviously, that is failing. The current toilets that are there.
We are responsible, and now I told you since last year we have started a separate maintenance budget for toilets, and we have started the process.
So by when should we expect spanking?
Another 6 months.
6 months, okay.
Best
so
of
we
the
should
toilets.
do a
Best of the toilets in South Delhi.
Okay, another question, yeah.
Whatever the law is, what about its implementation? Tomorrow a hotel says no, the man might walk into another hotel, or the woman. But even if they say no, the other hotel, it's going to be a chain. So who's responsible if this?
In fact, that's what the Hotel Association was also saying, that it's participatory right now. So there's no action.
Participatory, but we will make it compulsory.
By when?
Coming financial year, this ends, and the new norms, as the new mayor comes in, the new standing committee comes in, we'll start with this.
Paramita Vora, do you think this is a model other civic bodies should also implement across the country?
I think, it's a kind of an optional thing. So I don't know that I would be so excited and call it a system, because it's participatory, and I don't know if it's sustainable. So I think that counting on this kind of a system is dangerous, because it starts creating a feeling like something is happening about toilets, and then the administration is not going to build the public toilets that are needed. So I personally feel a little cautious about it. I won't say that you shouldn't have it, but I wouldn't hurry up and call it a system, really. I don't think that restaurants are going to allow all kinds of women, and I don't think it's going to be sustainable, because how many people can actually use the toilet in a restaurant or hotel, which anyway has a limited amount of space, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's better to think of a way to build public toilets that are universally accessible.
Well, that's what the BJP over here says that they are going to be doing as well. This is just a measure. But yeah, final question, yeah?
जी अभी सर ने क्या अभी 150 टॉयलेट बन रहे हैं और 400 और बनेंगे, अच्छी बात है, लेकिन मैं कुछ टॉयलेट में गया वहाँ पे पानी की बहुत कमी है, मतलब उन्हें भी मेंटेनेंस रखा जाए पूरा.
That you talked about. Okay, what's your question?
Yeah, actually, we all know it's a very noble step, but as sir pointed out, there are quite a few worries that the restaurant authorities are worried about. Does the MCD ensure that they look after the restaurants' worries? Does it ensure that?
What are the worries?
Like you pointed out, some of the worries.
Well,
like
the security one, which I think, which
a
gives
restaurant is supposed to have its own security system. Even otherwise, ladies are coming. They are more. All the restaurants have nightclubs, disco, and everything. They already provide security. There's nothing we have asked something different from that.
Yeah,
I think in an issue like this,
and it is not a lady is coming with a revolver and you need extra security. It is a normal lady coming like they are coming in their restaurant. Simple.
Yeah.
So I think in this program, we must understand that where are we getting to, and like the other panelists from Mumbai had mentioned, that one should not get too either excited or to just reject it outright. I think the requirement of applying house rules should be looked at, because when you are getting into a private property, the property's house rules should apply.
Which is the right of admission.
No. All I'm talking about is the house rules that apply. And my other point is, it's a good step. Okay, fine, to increase the numbers.
Right.
Okay, the numbers can be increased. Okay, there are restaurants, but these are only applicable, let's say, in clusters of, say, marketplaces.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they say, charity begins at home. What about government offices?
Of course. And so this, perhaps at the end of it, what we can say is unanimous is that everybody feels that we need more toilets. And what they do emphasize on is that the government should keep at its initiative to build more toilets, which everyone, not just women, everyone can perhaps adhere to.
First thing I would like to ensure is that government is not cutting down its budget or slowing down the process. The process is in the same speed. This is just an extra facility for the public.
But maybe it needs acceleration, sir.
Yes, I know.
Okay, so thanks very much, Shailendra Singh, and also to Prakul Kumar, Paramita Bora, and Dr. Kar joining us from Kolkata. That's it on Agenda. Join us again at the same time for another show. Goodbye.